This is a great illustration of how the person doesn't brush with the fundamental struggle until partially through the first act, but then right from the beginning, he has a relevant plot objective that is being met by struggle. Steve needs to do his part in World War II and enlist in the army objective, yet he can't in light of his medical issues. Struggle. First plot point, Dr. Erskine finishes his exploratory technique and transforms Steve into a super fighter. This is the key event, where Steve leaves behind his normal world. Closely following this turn of events, a Hydra employable explodes the lab, takes the remainder of Erskine's serum, and kills Erskine. This is the first plot point, which irreversibly dives Steve into the fundamental clash against Hydra. First pinch point. While on visit in Italy with his melodic company, a baffled Steve finds that his dearest companion Bucky's unit has been destroyed. Against orders, Steve drops into hostile area to find and protect his companion. Note how the squeeze something awful happens to the hero that underscores the main enemy power, turns the plot since it prompts an activity from the person. Midpoint. Steve salvages Bucky and different survivors from the 107th. He has a standoff with Hydra pioneer Johann Schmidt the Red Skull, which uncovers to him the genuine substance of his foe. Steve then, at that point, gets back to base a saint. Presently, he is Captain America. He can leave behind the response progressively ease in the main a large portion of the story and enter chivalrous activity mode. Second pinch point, and this is the place where this film makes a gigantic primary slip up. There is no way to see a second pinch point to be seen as here. From the midpoint on, the rest of the second act is fundamentally one long brave montage. Steve is making a move, yet he is meeting just about zero opposition. To be sure, he has Schmidt on the run. There is no question at all that Steve is winning and winning, no doubt. The final part of this film would have benefited extraordinarily from a more grounded accentuation on Schmidt's actual danger to Steve and the Allies' triumph. The plot needs a defining moment somewhere between the midpoint and the third plot point, in which that danger is underlined, the stakes are raised, and the third plot point is foreshadowed. Third plot point, instead, the film swings around, directly into the grievous third plot point. During a mission to get Schmidt's associate Dr. Solar, Steve and his howling commandos stroll into a snare. Bucky apparently tumbles to his demise. In itself, this a decent third plot point, since it hits Steve precisely where it harms by obliterating one of the two individuals he thinks often about most. Yet, it feels hurried and somewhat off exclusively due to that missing squeeze point beforehand. Peak. In the consequence of Bucky's passing, which, despite the fact that it hits Steve himself where it harms, isn't a triumph for Schmidt and doesn't put him a position of undermining power for the last a conflict. Steve takes the fight to Schmidt. Just before Schmidt's arrangement to bomb every one of the world's significant capitals, Steve and the commandos invade Schmidt's base. As Schmidt get away, Steve loads onto his plane and they truly do fight one-on-one. Climactic moment. After Schmidt gets maneuvered into the cosmos by the Tesseract, Steve acknowledges he can't securely set down the plane without imperiling individuals. He forfeits himself to crashland in the Arctic.